Hello everyone, this is Lima Model. So today we're going to take a look at a model that was first published in 1979 and was reprinted several times. The tooling changed hand quite a few times, and more recently in 2019 it was reprinted in this. So this one is branded as Lima and published by Hornby. So the model number is HL2104 Locomotiva DSL, and the prototype that it represents is a C61000. Again, it's branded Lima, and it's part of their Hobby line, which was similar to the Hornby Railroad line, if you guys are familiar with it. Now there's nothing really interesting on the packaging except that it has the Lima branding absolutely everywhere. So let me open it up and let's take a look at the documentation that came with it. So we got a bunch of text. So if we can take a look here, you're going to see that these are the instructions. So there is no diagram, nothing really interesting, just a bunch of text. And the instructions are very, very generic because of that. So the model itself. Well, it's packaged in styrofoam, but it has that plastic inserts that you can just flip to open it up. Here it is. So this was made first in 1979. Obviously, well, they've changed stuff since it was first released. A couple of notable things they've swapped are the engine. They've put a newer motor in this. Also, if you look at the crest here, you can see that the paint is probably much better than the original one that was there. They also put directional lights in it, which is quite impressive, I gotta say. That they would go through all that trouble of putting lights in a model that did not have any. And they're LED lights also, so they don't use much power. And they don't produce heat. In terms of details, as you can see, this is pretty bare bone. It's mainly a molded body on a chassis. It has the handrails, which are chunky and separately fitted. Also that exhaust right here that finishes up on the top of the cab here. It does have a nice grille that has a molded fan right behind it. I don't know how it looks up close, but from a distance it looks alright. So you can see the tooling is getting a bit old now. I mean, this one was produced literally 40 years after the first release, so you can see that it's a bit soft. The molding on it is not as crisp as what we see nowadays. But now this is probably because the tooling is getting old. It does have traction tires on the axle with the gear on it, and what I wanted to show you is that, oh, what's this? It's actually branded Jouef. Now, if you're looking at this in 2023, this has been re-released since my model here by Jouef again. So I have no idea why Lima decided to release it at some point. However, this model is actually pretty historically significant because it actually had an impact on Hornby France. In 2015, one previous reprint of this model received a special award from the Fédération Française de Modélisme Ferroviaire, which stands for the French Model Railroad Federation. And you would not guess why. Well, they gave it to Hornby because they made an effort with this model to make model railroad accessible to all. It was a good model, it ran well, it had good features, and the price was decent. This thing costed brand new 30 euros. Quite far from that nowadays. I actually miss those models, the simpler ones. I mean, I don't need all the extra details. As long as it runs fine and looks fine from a distance. I can't purchase the like $600 model just because they've just released it. Something like this it's fine. I can't complain about anything for the price I paid, for the way it runs. Now, obviously, some of the things shows their age on this. Well, they were not able to put any DCC socket in this. As such, I had to manually wire a DCC chip in there. So, the one I used was actually a Digitrax that was made for Z and also HO locomotive, but it could fit in Z scale locomotive. The electrical board on it, if you want to take a look at it, that's what it looks like. It works for directional lighting, but it doesn't have any sockets, so you have to manually wire these in. But that's a pretty straightforward process. So, in terms of weight, this model is 133 grams, which is about equivalent to a regular Hornby 040. It does perform pretty well. Because it's modern, unlike its previous predecessor, the flanges are not that big on it, so they can actually run on modern tracks. Price of it was good, and if you look nowadays on the price of the new ones, they're not too bad, although they tend to creep up like the rest. So all in all, you have a value model here that looks decent, that does the job, and honestly, if you can grab one for a decent price, go get one, if this is the type of model that you like. So, what do you think about this? What do you think about the prices of new models? Do you think that model railway industry is shooting itself in the foot by not allowing younger people with less money to get in the hobby and only concentrating on the one that have very, very high requirements? Do you have any of those? Well, let me know in the comments. So, on that note, this was Leeway Models. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Leeway Model out.